Nowadays, it's getting rarer and rarer that a new anime becomes a so-called hidden gem. Everything's being watched, everything's being reviewed. Even with a huge amount of anime getting released, all the amazing shows bubble up in history remembers, here are the actual good shows, and here are the ones that didn't quite meet the hype. But this season, we're living in some bizarro world where freaking everything is good. So you've got several shows I'm absolutely gobsmacked more people aren't watching, but it's simply because people are watching other great shows that simply had more initial hype behind them. But I mean, I've been doing anime YouTube for like over 10 years now, and I feel like some of these shows just need a little bit more of a push to get the recognition they deserve, because it's such an easy sell. Like for example, I can say, are you watching Vivy? And you're like, no. And then I say, why not? It's like a cross between Violet Evergarden, The Terminator, and Nier Automata, written by the same guy who did ReZero. But then you're like, okay, but... So then I show you this. And then you're like, alright then, guess I'm watching Vivy. But sometimes you come across a show that's harder to sell. Something you can't just show a cool scene or summarize in one clickbaity tagline, but you know that if you just convince someone to give it a chance, they're gonna think it fucking slaps. And that's basically Odd Taxi. Odd Taxi is one of those series where you watch one episode and you're like, hey, this seems pretty cool, I might give this a watch, but let me see what else is on offer first. Holy shit, whoa! Oh, hey, what was this about again? Because that's exactly what happened to me, but thankfully, being a good old Nihon resident, the series was inescapable. If you ever rode a taxi in the last 6 months in Tokyo, cause hey guys, it's a series called Odd Taxi about a taxi driver in Tokyo, so let's put it on the back of every taxi in Tokyo ever! Genius! Actually, you know what? That was fucking genius. Because it reminded me to watch it, and if I didn't, I would have missed one of the most engrossing anime on offer this year, paired with some of the best writing I've seen in a while. Welcome to the underbelly of Tokyo, the backdrop for a cast of colourful characters that seemingly have nothing to do with each other. An enthusiastic college student looking for any way to get viral, a desperate bachelor who would do anything to get a date, a tired nurse with a secret of her own, a sleazy gangster looking to please his boss. There's an idol group and their biggest fan, a stand-up comedy duo, a corrupt cop, and somewhere in the middle of all this, there's a mysterious girl who's just gone missing somewhere in the city. But what's all this got to do with anything? What initially seems like a group of unrelated characters on their own journey slowly starts to interconnect. As the mystery is unraveled, their paths start to intertwine with each other, and right at the center of all this, there's one single taxi driver who's run out of fucks to give. It can be hard to tell what the hook of this show is meant to be or what the show is even about at the beginning, because you are introduced to so many different things that seemingly have nothing to do with each other, but it's one of those shows where if you have the patience to stick around, you'll be rewarded as the puzzle pieces start fitting together and the dots starts getting connected. Nothing is there for show, everything has a purpose. For those who pay attention, you might even be able to make sense of it all before it's fully revealed. This is a mature mystery thriller that's often been compared to Tarantino movies, and honestly, I absolutely agree. Not just with the format of presenting a grand narrative with a bunch of interconnected characters, but just the feel of the whole thing. There's just something about the dialogue in Tarantino movies that is so addicting. You hear these characters talk and it just doesn't sound like your typical movie dialogue. It feels so natural, yet it's not exactly realistic either. You know, as much as I would like to think I can have Tarantino-esque dialogue with the boys on a Saturday night at the pub, it's almost as if you get a snapshot of the optimized version of naturally occurring dialogue. You recognize the conversations, but there's a certain rhythm to it. People are on the top of their game. Everyone says exactly the right thing at the perfect time to say it. It's like conversational poetry. And Odd Taxi captures this energy perfectly. It's witty, it's snappy, it's human conversation in peak form, and sometimes it'll throw a curveball at you. Like you could have two characters having this deep, intimate conversation. This guy's telling this girl to stay away from him. It's unsafe. He has dangerous people after him. He's involved in something bigger than himself, and for her own good, she shouldn't be involved with him. And in response to that, this happens.
カポエラやってたから。
What? Everything about this show exudes this energy of an indie anime. I mean, it's not. It's by Pony Cannon. But it just somehow feels so vastly different from your usual otaku-bait seasonal anime. Pulp Fiction, No Country for Old Men, Taxi Driver. Before thinking of other anime this is comparable to, these are the things that come to mind when I think of what Odd Taxi is like. So what is it about the writing that makes this show stand out? You may have heard the term Chekhov's gun, the concept where no element in the story that is presented to the viewer should be completely unnecessary. In the words of Anton Chekhov himself, if you say in the first chapter there's a rifle hanging on the wall, in the second or third chapter it absolutely must go off. If it's not going to be fired, it shouldn't be hanging there.
Fucking knew it!
Of course, this doesn't always have to refer to a literal gun, but any object or element that is introduced should lead to an eventual payoff. I'm sure you've all watched or read a story where a big plot element was set up and introduced that didn't actually lead anywhere or mean anything at the end, and you're just left there thinking, so wait, what the fuck was the point of Bran being able to possess animals again? The reason I bring this up is because, unfortunately, Odd Taxi doesn't have a Chekhov's gun. That's right, it has a fucking Chekhov arsenal. This shit probably breaks the Chekhov Geneva Convention and is getting tried at the Chekhov UN for Chekhov war crimes. Hold on a second, I've just finished watching Odd Taxi and I'm on my way back in my Chekhov Apache helicopter. It's a rare sight when you see a script where seemingly every single little bit of detail has a purpose. As a writer, it can be easy to forget about small aspects or just look over certain elements, but Odd Taxi manages to juggle so many characters, so many different storylines, intertwining them into this chaotic mess that somehow becomes coherent when the end is in sight. The script is so tight, it can fix your leaks better than Flex Seal. One thing leads to another, which affects something else, which connects everything together. Tick after talk after tick after talk. The ebb and flow of this series is like watching a Ruby Goldberg machine in motion. Every episode you're given a new puzzle piece. No scene unnecessary, no single piece of dialogue wasted. But for every new breadcrumb you are given, the whole picture slowly but surely becomes more visible. Plot lines intertwine. Characters crash into each other. Tension builds up until eventually everything is revealed. It's absolutely incredible how much care and attention has gone into the writing here. There could be a scene where characters could be having this seemingly random conversation about the meta of Tinder profiles, and you don't realize until a few episodes later that a piece of information was exchanged that gave a clue to what was really going on, or a single shot somehow foreshadowed what was about to come. It's like the writer has a chronic fear of loose ends, because no stone is left unturned or detail left unchecked, and here I am watching this being like, fuck, I can't even keep track of where I put my phone like 5 minutes ago, and alright, this isn't actually part of the script, but I literally can't find my phone right now. But in between the grander plot, you have these really personal, grounded stories surrounding the various casts that can hit a little bit too uncomfortably close to home sometimes. A lot of these characters just seems like dudes you've known, struggling with some kind of insecurity, and because of that, you want to root for them even through their worst decisions. There's a dude who's just obsessed with trying to get popular online, and I don't know, can't really relate to that. There's this dude who's taking out loans to make it seem like he's as rich as he said he was in his Tinder profile, and I'm like, come on man. Can't you just be like a normal, sane person and subscribe to an OnlyFans like everyone else? But for me, the standout one is the one depicted in episode 4, cause this may be the single best standalone episode of this spring anime season. At first, you're like, what kind of episode is this? We're focusing on a character we've never seen before with no previous connection to the plot, and we've gone from a missing persons mystery case to a guy playing gacha games. What the hell is going on? But as this guy tells his story, you start to get absorbed. From a simple boy who just wants to be accepted by his friends, who just wants to feel like one of the cool kids for once, to an overly competitive obsession of collecting erasers. One mistake leads to another. One domino follows another domino, follows another domino, follows another. Every part of his life feels like it was fueled by the mistakes of his previous actions. You see the journey of a perfectly sane man spiral down into the darkest depths of gacha addiction because, well, this is his fate. This is what his life had led to. This is what he was meant to do. And as this all plays out, his place in the story starts to make sense. The dots start connecting, and when everything's said and done, you have a man who's completely snapped because he couldn't get some bird in a gacha game. I mean, wow. What a psycho, right? Couldn't be me. Imagine losing your mind over a fucking dodo. Like, what? I mean, come on, it doesn't even have a swimsuit edition. It's rare to find storytelling as engrossing as this, and for God's sakes, it's about a guy playing a fucking gacha game. But this episode perfectly captures what makes this such a standout show. I feel like there's something else big I forgot to mention about this show. Oh yeah, they're animals. Did you notice? Look, I know what your first thought was when you saw these designs because it was my first thought as well. Oh hey, another show to add to anime's furry phase we're apparently going through now. You know, it was cool when Beastars came out, but if I have to sell another show with the tagline, it's like Zootopia, but I might just have to put on a fursuit myself and fucking woo myself to death. But honestly, I don't think it's actually anything like that, because the fact that they're animals plays such a small part of the show. In fact, it hardly plays any part of the show. A lot of these series blends human behavior with animal characteristics, but here, their animal size are hardly ever referred to at all. To the point where a lot of people have thought that this was just a live action drama in disguise. So why the fuck can't we just see that version?
I want to get married, I want to have babies. Before I'm like 26, do you have health insurance?
Actually, you know what? Let's just keep it anime. Odd Taxi is an absolute masterclass in writing that I know a lot of people have looked over. And with it having just come recently to an end, it's been a while since I've seen a series this complete. With a mystery series as plot heavy as this, anime's had a bad rep recently of kind of dropping the ball when it came to the ending, or just leaving us with something unsatisfactory with everything it built up. Odd Taxi, however, didn't just stick its landing. It fucking did a triple double backflip twist with one hand tied behind its back, landed on 2 feet, and casually got gold in the Olympics in the process. It's been so long since I've seen an anime with a story that was just the full package from start to finish. Many series have struggled and failed trying to juggle less than what's going on here, but by the final episode, the series not only managed to weave everything into one coherent narrative, made sure every Chekhov gun was fired in spectacular fashion, tied up all its loose ends, but it also somehow did it all seamlessly. It doesn't have the flashy visuals or the big names behind it or the pre-existing fan base to hype it up, but what it does have is just pure, engrossing storytelling. I know it's a busy season, I know there are much more high-profile titles out there, I know these animal character designs aren't the most appealing things in the world, but I do sincerely hope that more people check this out. This had an uphill battle from the start to get noticed, and I think a series like this was always going to be classified as that underwatched, underappreciated hidden gem. But you know what? Maybe we can change that. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry. God damn, this is a good opening. Thank you very much to Levados, Manapla, Pony Stark, Dysfunctional Degenerate, Alpha Sigma, Jeff, and everyone else on my Patreon for helping to support me for this month and making this video possible. Look guys, I know June was a bit of a quiet month for me, but I was actually really busy, but I actually had a really busy schedule off this channel, doing stuff for other channels, so that's why you didn't get many videos that month, but also I've been working on some super big videos as well, which you can expect this month. So this is going to be a much busier month than last month. So we're starting this month with an Odd Taxi video. I really hope you enjoyed it because more fucking people need to watch it. I know this isn't going to be the most viewed video on my channel, but my god, I hope those of you who did actually watch this video, you end up giving it a shot because it really does deserve it. But yeah, you can expect a much more regular upload schedule this month and beyond, so yeah, I'll just leave it at that for today because I have no further updates. So everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day. I've been Giguk and I'll see you all next time.